Hey, it's Mike from Go Cell Phone Repair, and first off, I want to wish you all a happy and safe holiday. Whatever it is that you may be celebrating, may you continue to enjoy many more. I also want to talk to you about something that affects all of us and doesn't get nearly enough exposure, and that is the risk of driving while distracted. Now, even if you aren't one of the people doing it, texting and driving is one of the most dangerous things that you're likely to encounter on the road. And while I don't want to sound preachy, I do want you to live, and I want this message to get out to anyone who will listen. If it prevents one person from getting hurt, then this will be more than worthwhile. According to a study by Cohen Children's Medical Center in New Hyde Park, more than 3,000 teens die each year in crashes caused by texting and driving. Now that's more than the 2,700 that are killed while driving under the influence of alcohol. And this is just teens we're talking about, or I'm not even adding in the number of adults who are involved in this type of thing. Now, before you say it'll never happen to me, consider that a lot of cigarette smokers never thought that they would ever get cancer, and probably at least half of the population didn't believe that Donald Trump would become the next president of the United States, and most people who have been involved in automobile accidents probably did not plan on that happening. Texting and driving is becoming one of the biggest causes of fatal and injury accidents. It's said to be even more dangerous than drinking and driving, although that would of course depend on how much alcohol one had consumed. The Brain Injury Society says that texting while driving is like drinking 4 beers. Now, hopefully that's something that none of us would intentionally do. When people used to ask me what I would do for a living if I had my choice, I always said being a mythbuster would be one of the coolest jobs ever. Those guys are awesome, and they even did a show that demonstrates how dangerous just talking on a cell phone is versus drinking and driving. Texting takes away more of your attention from the road, especially since now that we have laws against doing it, people are more likely to hold their phones down below the window level so they won't be as conspicuous. Whereas in the past, people used to text and drive up here. Now they have to move their phone and their eyes all the way away from the road. Car and Driver magazine performed an experiment testing how long it would take to hit the brakes under 4 different circumstances, and here's what they found. At 70 miles per hour using a straight road without any traffic, no road signals, no pedestrians, in other words, without any of the distractions that would normally be present, a sober driver would take 0.54 seconds to brake. If you add a 0.08 blood alcohol content, that will require the person to have an additional 4 feet of braking time. Drivers reading an email took an additional 36 feet, and drivers sending a text needed an additional 70 feet. Now, a lot of things can go wrong in that 70-foot distance. DistractedDriverAccidents.com says that the truth is texting while driving takes a driver's eyes off the road for an average of 4.6 seconds and increases the chances of a crash by 23%. Now, to put that into perspective, if a vehicle is traveling at 55 miles an hour, the average driver doesn't look at the road for about the length of an entire football field while sending a text. According to the National Law Review, in 2006, University of Utah researchers used a driving simulator and compared study participants who were talking on their cell phone versus those who were legally intoxicated. By looking at the data obtained from driving profiles, the researchers found that cell phone users, regardless of whether or not they were using hands-free or handheld devices, showed greater levels of driver impairment than the drivers who were legally intoxicated by alcohol. One of the real problems is that the penalties don't reflect the potential dangers involved with distracted driving. Where I live, a first-time ticket for texting and driving is $160. I mean, that's basically a slap on the wrist. And considering that a DUI can cost thousands or more, including a suspension of your license, time in jail, it's no surprise that distracted driving offenses are on the rise. In Ontario, the problem is so bad that they recently increased the fine for distracted driving from between $490 to $1,000. There's actually a lot of comments in the sections of these studies that I've been looking at where people say, well, there's a new app out that will prevent your phone from allowing you to send a text while you're in the car. And then, of course, there's a backlash of comments that says, well, we shouldn't need an app. And, in my days, we knew how to do things and so forth and so on. But obviously, something needs to be done because most people, I think, are aware of these dangers, but we are continuing to see a lot of people text and drive. I mean, I see it on the road myself. And it's not just a matter of what you're doing behind the wheel, it's the combination of your actions and the other people on the road. The other drivers, in many cases, are the biggest danger. Now, here's the big difference between texting and drinking and driving. If you get into the driver's seat under the influence of alcohol, you are a hazard until when and if you reach your destination. The good news is that when it comes to the dangers of using a cell phone on the road, all you have to do is put the phone down until you park your car. Please be safe this holiday season and be aware of the other people on the road. Thanks for watching.